Hi, my name is KC Connolly. I'm a 6-year resident here at Franklin Village. And I just wanted to respond to a flyer many of us received on our mailboxes with a webpage for franklinvillagers.com on it that had a lot of points that were potentially misleading about the upcoming May 4th vote. I will admit to being a member of Connect Franklin. We are a group that was formed around the idea of improving connectivity and walkability in Franklin. We'd like to be able to support our local businesses better in the downtown. Many of us use the shoulders that exist today and would love to have better pathways to walk into our downtown. So going kind of point by point on the flyer, the first point talks about keeping your rights. Really, voting yes on May 4th, it's not giving up your rights. We elect a village council. And the idea is the village council is the voice of the people. In the 2020 election, it's worth noting that 2 of the 4 candidates that were kind of strongly no on sidewalks, that were very anti-sidewalks, got beaten pretty handily. And the council is dominated by folks right now that are pro-connectivity in Franklin. So again, this is kind of a directional vote, if you will, telling the council, how do we feel about this? Are we really on board with adding sidewalks on 13 Mile and Franklin Road? So I personally do not see this at all as giving up our rights. The second point on the flyer addresses retaining your rights to authorize new sidewalks. Again, there's kind of a modicum of truth that yes, as residents, we could all band together, come up with a proposal and say, hey, council, this is what we want to do, which would still take a charter referendum in order to do that. However, the feasibility of getting 3,300 residents all to agree on a sidewalk plan and come back together, again, this is the reason that we actually elect the village council. Again, the village council has the planning commission and the historical district commission that are there to help guide them when establishing plans for new sidewalks. And some of what the residents themselves would have to do would be basically reform these committees. We really have already retained our rights to authorize sidewalks. That's what this vote is doing, is it's asking residents, hey, do you want sidewalks on 13 Mile and Franklin roads? If the answer is yes, that you do, you should be voting yes on May 4th if you believe that any part of that deserves sidewalks. The third point on the flyer is to hold the village council accountable. Again, we've really voted several times on things related to sidewalks and related to road funding. And back in 2016, there was a ballot initiative to improve our roads, which included improving road rights of ways, including for items according to safety. Oakland County Circuit Court has held against a lawsuit that was filed against Franklin Village on this point, that this money can be used for sidewalks. The fact that it includes the words right of way and for safety improvements, that directly ties to sidewalks. And the fourth point on the flyer is about maintaining control of the future of Franklin. So I would again contend that this vote really is about establishing direction for the future of Franklin. We're really looking to tell the council, do we want sidewalks in the future on 13 Mile Road or on Franklin Road? We voted previously to elect these council members. And in fact, some of the people that we believe are probably behind this flyer are folks that were on the losing end in November of 2020 that were kind of on the anti-sidewalk side, now trying to strip power away from the elected members of the council. We're trying to let them do their job here and ask us, do we want these sidewalks? Likewise, for those of you who are familiar with the streetscape plan for downtown and the pathways that were included there, those designs, both the conceptual landscape designs that were reviewed dozens of times and then were eventually approved in July of 2019, turned into engineering plans that were reviewed extensively at the end of 2019 and into early 2020. Both at village council meetings and with specific meetings for residents. It really was communicated very well, and there was a lot of feedback taken in of improvements and changes that were made to the plans to benefit residents. So again, we see this maintaining control of Franklin is kind of a myth, right? I mean, what this is looking to do is assess, which way do you want Franklin to go? Do you want improved connectivity? I'd like to address the picture at the bottom of the flyer as well, which is a little bit misleading. One of the big points that's made on there is about maximizing intrusions into folks' yards to build sidewalks. I think everybody's kind of aware that there's a right-of-way that exists around any road. And it's actually around railroads, roads, any infrastructure that's kind of publicly owned. In Oakland County, with the exception of 13 Mile Road here, which is a primary road, most of our roads qualify as local roads, which do have right-of-ways that are between 86 and 120 feet wide. So from the center line of the road out into the yard, that leaves potentially something like 43 to 60 feet. In this case, what was done with the streetscape engineering plans is pedestrian safety was taken into account, as well as minimizing the need for retaining walls. So what was really done here was trying to find the slickest path, if you will, to prevent inordinate expense to build retaining walls. Likewise, the idea is to have this beautification strip, as we're calling it, between the road and the sidewalk that the village would install, basically free landscaping for these homeowners that do get sidewalks, to prevent vehicles from driving over into the sidewalk where possible. So that's really what's going on here. There's no nefarious scheme to try and take over your property with the sidewalk. Looking at this flyer, again, we don't really know who sent it. It's kind of dubious, right? It showed up on our mailboxes, hung to our postal flags. But I'd like to call my fellow residents here to Franklin, get out and vote on May 4th. Tell the council which way you'd like to go. I personally will be voting yes. I'm an active runner. I've got a dog that I love to walk, and I've got a young son that I would love to be able to walk into the village green and use our facilities that we've got down there. So I'm asking folks, please get out to the polls and vote on May 4th. And if you support the idea of walkability, while maintaining our historic character here in Franklin, vote yes.